T-minus 30 seconds. T-minus 20 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Shout out to USARK and all USARK members. If you don't know what USARK is, don't be ashamed. Just go ahead and click the third link in the description below. See what USARK is all about, okay? You never know when legislations are going to hit your backyard, so that's why it's very important to consider becoming a USARK member today. These numbers really do matter, and they look at it for consideration when it comes to battling legislation. So first and foremost, thank you, Phil Goss. Thank you to anybody out there who partners up and volunteers with USARK organization. Thank you for anyone out there who's a USARK member. And if you can't become a USARK member today, please talk about it on your platforms. Let your neighbors know, let all your pet stores know what USARK is here for, and it's here to fight for our animal rights. Thank you to every USARK member and USARK supporter out there. True.
All right. Good evening, everybody. This is Krista with the Girls Who Love Reptiles podcast. You're now tapped into the coolest reptile network in the world, the Trap Talk Reptile Network. We're already on episode 31. Time is just flying by. We have a great group of ladies tonight to discuss monitors. We got Jen, who's also, you'll be my co-host tonight, but she's also host of the Monitor Talk, which is on Saturday mornings. And then we got Kat, the Reptile Whisperer, tonight as well. So super excited to talk to them. If you're new here, like the subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you get notified about all of the weekly shows that we have. Here is I see my cat Phoenix, of course, in the background, but here's our weekly schedule. Go on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. You heard it, 7 days a week, bringing to you content, all various types of species. So like I said, hit that notification bell to get notified. And yeah, it's me, Krista. Thanks for everybody tapping in. Hope you guys are all having a great weekend. Brought up the schedule. Also, want to mention the Trap Talk Patreon network. The link is in the description on how to join that. Highly, highly recommend. I've learned so much since joining last year. I've been tapped in with a bunch of keepers. Networking's been great. Been learning a lot. Can't say enough good things. So highly recommend joining the Patreon here on the Trap. I'm bringing my co-host Jen real quick. We'll do a little chat. Say hello to you guys in the chat as well.
Hi, so sorry it's dark.
No, that's okay. We were playing around with it in the beginning. Now it's like too dark.
And it's like it's not being nice to me today. So
that's all right. I think it gives a kind of a cool vibe. How's your weekend been going so far?
Campfire vibe. Campfire vibe.
It's better than the that was like the horror film at first. It was like The Conjuring or something was about to happen.
Yeah, it did. It's the witchy thing in me, I guess. 70s horror flick. The monster's gonna come from behind and then podcast over. You know, that's what's gonna happen.
So funny. So how's your weekend been going?
It's been going.
Anything new? Sounds like it's been kind of stressful.
No, I mean, it's pretty much getting back to normal. You know, I've been out for a little bit. So, aside from that, just getting back into the grind, the daily grind, I should say. But, all in all, good. How about you? Anything new?
Okay. Looks like my mic's not plugged. You can hear me okay, right?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, cool. Yeah, it's been going pretty well. I had a local show today I did, so that took up most of the day. Did pretty well, moved some animals. And yeah, I don't really have too much left from last year, just a few animals. I'll kind of move out before I move this summer and kind of wrap up local shows for me. So yeah, pretty good day. Well, I'm a little tired, but it happens. Just from talking to people. But it was great, though. A lot of kids that were excited and parents that were excited. They learned a lot of things, seemed interested in the reptiles. So it was really good educational event, and I always enjoy seeing their faces light up, having them ask good questions. It always kind of fuels me on
Yeah,
doing
that's
it.
where
So,
it's at. And by the way, I did see the podcast he had with the girls at the Reptile Youth Alliance.
yeah, that
Amazing.
was fantastic. Yeah,
That
if you
was
guys are
amazing.
listening in and didn't see that, definitely watch last week.
Yes. I actually had forwarded that once it was already said and done, just so people could still check it out.
Okay, cool. I appreciate that. Yeah, that was a great, very inspiring, and that kind of, I had that in the back of my mind. Went to the show today and seeing those kids and kind of taking it more of responsibility of myself to get the younger generation excited. I think that's something I can do at shows, and
It's important.
Very important. So awesome. Without further ado, we'll bring Miss Cat on. We'll kind of get started.
Hello, Kathryn.
Hi. How
How's
are
it
you?
going?
I'm good. I'm being spooky.
I like it though. I think it looks good.
I think it looks cool.
It keeps getting like, I'm like raising, maybe if I go darker, maybe it'll go lighter.
Oh, that's good right there.
Yeah, that's good. That
That's
looks
perfect.
good.
You want to know something weird? I just lowered it. I
Interesting.
lowered the brightness, and okay, all right, I guess.
I don't know. I think that works. But cool. Awesome. How's your weekend been going, Cap?
It's been going good.
Everybody does a pause before saying
Yeah.
that. Like, you gotta think about
I know, I'm
it.
trying to remember.
One of those
So-
So like I did end up well, I had to work for a little bit Saturday, but after that I went down to the Carlisle Reptile Expo in Carlisle, Pennsylvania, because I had to get feeders. I always need feeders.
Yeah.
And there's this guy that I only buy feeders from him. His name is Rick, and his company is called Rick's Rodents. And he's at like all of the reptile expos, that I go to. So I try to find him wherever he's at so I can buy more rodents, But yeah, so I had to drive down there and get some rodents. And then I went out with my friends last night. I'm a little hungover still.
Nice.
Nice. That's so
Well,
cute right there.
Nice.
Last night they were celebrating Mardi Gras, with the beads and everything. So, I had to
How
go
could
out.
you not get down with that? I'd be like, so like beads, please.
Yeah, it was fun. It was fun, but waking up this morning was not fun.
And you work today, right?
No, yesterday I
Oh.
worked and then went out. And then today I've just been doing my normal reptile stuff. So like Sundays, I'm usually like trying to clean, the cages and, take people out and play with them. Just like this guy right here, if I can get him, he's like going in my couch right now, Ozzy. He's one of my monkey tail skinks.
Oh, yeah. We saw him. We
Yeah,
saw him
yeah.
backstage.
Yeah,
Bring him
he's
up. I want to see him
beautiful.
again.
Yeah, so this is
Hello,
Ozzy.
Ozzy.
I don't know if you
How
guys
are you?
can't see what you guys can see, but you can kind of see his little face there.
The head's like
He's
awesome.
cute.
Yeah, this is the first monkey tail skink that I ever got. It's been almost 4 years ago now. He was a little baby. And after getting him, because I had always wanted to keep the species.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And then I just fell in love with them. They're like in the number 2 spot after the tree monitors. They're just so awesome. They're like
They're so
really
unique
friendly.
looking.
Yeah, and they're really friendly too. Like they'll all come out and like all of them, they live in social families called a circulus. And so like they're just a big family, and like they're all greet me at the door and like reaching out with their little hands trying to climb up, and
Aw.
Cute.
yeah, I really love them. They're great. Highly recommend. And they have this cool prehensile tails just like the tree monitors do too.
Huh.
Yeah, I'm definitely into like the arboreal lizards and
Yeah.
big time.
Yeah. Go ahead and introduce yourself to the guests. Tell us
Yes.
who you are, your background. I love that. That's one of my favorite parts of the whole show is hearing people's journeys and their stories of how they got into, and then why do they call you the reptile whisperer?
Well, my journey started in toddlerhood, I guess. I was born in Miami, Florida. And so there were like, if you've ever been to Florida, there's like little anoles running around everywhere and all other kind of reptiles too. And I just remember being really fascinated, by all the lizards and stuff that were running around outside as a toddler. Of course, I couldn't catch them yet. So my grandfather, he would notice that I'd reach for them and stuff, and he would catch them for me, and he would put them in these like little containers, and I would just carry them around. And then I know, right?
A fashion accessory now.
Yeah. And then I think maybe when I was like 4 or 5, I was fast enough to get them. So then I just started catching them. And then it was like every single day I was outside, catching them and playing with whatever it was that I could find. Could have been some toads or frogs or snakes or, tortoises, whatever. And growing up like that, I started to realize a couple things about these animals. And it helped to make me, I guess, what you call the reptile whisperer, which was a nickname that was given to me. And I'll tell you about that. But so I really grew up learning about reptile behavior. I'm really, really good at reading reptiles. And I learned, as a kid, how to earn their trust, how to tame them. So like these reptiles in my backyard growing up, I would repeatedly catch the same ones over and over, right? And eventually they became tame. So tame that if I just saw them outside, I could walk up to them and they would just get right in my hands, and I could hand feed them and everything else. So it was like my backyard pets that weren't caged, And I don't know, I think that really like kind of opened my eyes. Like I don't view reptiles as what a lot of other people might view them as. Like I know that they have emotions and they have feelings, and I know that they can bond with people, and bond, with their owners, and you can have a really good relationship with them. And it's very similar to what you can have with your furry pets, but you just have to put in the time, and it might look a little bit different than, your furry pets. Although sometimes it might look very similar, like the monitor lizards. They probably remind me the most of like a furry animal type pet. Because the monitor lizards, they'll like rub their heads on you like cats do. And they'll rub their whole bodies all over you. They'll like scent mark your bed, your furniture, like everything, but anyway, so I learned how to interact with these animals and earn their trust when I was a kid. And then we moved here to Pennsylvania, and that's when I started keeping reptiles as, I guess, like indoor pets. And I had to learn, husbandry then, so I had to learn, the proper everything that you need to do. And back then, because this was a long time ago, I'm almost 46. So this is way back in the day. And reptile husbandry has changed so much since I was a kid. We know so much more now. Thank goodness. But yeah, so then I started keeping reptiles as pets. I went to my first reptile expo here in Pennsylvania. It was the Hamburg Expo. And if anybody out there watching lives in Pennsylvania, they definitely know what the Hamburg Expo is, because
I've heard of it.
It's the best one out here. And basically you can find whatever you want, because Pennsylvania laws are very relaxed. So like you could go there and buy a black mamba if you want to. You can go there and buy a Nile crocodile, and you don't need permits or anything. Anybody can buy pretty much anything. As long as it's not a native species, you can have it. But anyway, so I don't know, like I've just always been obsessed with the reptiles. And then as a kid also, I wanted to know more than just, the hands-on stuff. I actually wanted to learn the science behind reptiles and amphibians. So I think I was around like 7, and I started checking out adult books at the library because, we didn't have the internet back then, So I was always in the library trying to find any kind of like scientific literature, anything I could about these animals. And, I don't know, it was like the more I learned, the more I wanted to know. I just wanted to know everything. And then I don't know, like that just never stopped for me. And I'm still like that to this day. Like I'm constantly trying to research anything new that comes out, any kind of new scientific journal publication. I just really enjoy reading about all that stuff. But also I like the hands-on too. So I do like breeding reptiles, keeping them, but it's as a hobby. I'm not doing any like mass production or like trying to make money or, make a living, anything like that. I just do it for the joy of doing it. But how I got the nickname of Reptile Whisperer. So there was this pet store that I used to go to a lot when I lived in Colorado Springs. And I was telling them, I was like, I'm really good with reptiles. Like none of them ever bite me. Nothing. Like I can tame anything. And they're like, oh yeah. We don't believe you, go over there and stick your hand in with the tokay geckos or, try to take out this snake, or like,
all the reptiles, the tokays, of course.
Yeah. Or like,
these are mean.
This monitor lizard, they had like this big monitor lizard. I think it was a Dumeral's monitor or something like that, or black roughneck. I don't remember now, but it was wild caught, full grown adult. And they're like, oh yeah, get in there. That thing's going to rush you and bite you as soon as you open the door. But every time they told me to do this, I showed them, oh, he's trying to get down. Let me put him on there. But I would show them like, it's all in your approach to the animals, right? So I'm really good at reading behavior, but also like my approach to them is different. Like I don't just reach in and grab, and I'm not fast moving or very loud either. So like with these animals, I'll be very, very slow, and sometimes so slow it looks like I'm not even moving, like I'll keep my hand really low to the ground, and I'll just slowly inch forward. And if I see the animal start to posture like, then I'll just stop moving and I'll wait. And so it can take, several minutes for me to even get close, but eventually I will, and I won't get bit. And I'll eventually get to the point where, I can pick them up and handle them and, whatever. So they were always really amazed by that. So they started calling me the Reptile Whisperer.
Cool.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, it sounds like I feel like people just kind of have that natural sort of, I want to say spiritual, but kind of that connection they're able to have. Yeah, the energy, that's a good. My sister kind of has that too. That we've kind of noticed growing up. Like animals just kind of act different around certain people. They definitely feel that connection or that energy, which I find very, very interesting.
But I think it's also funny too, because if you think about it, the way we approach other people or have people approach us, it all depends on that approach. How someone approaches you dictates your reaction, your feedback towards that person. It's the same thing with animals, not just reptiles. It's one of those. It's how they perceive. Is it a threat? Are you my friend? Are you not my friend? Or like, what do you want?
Yeah.
Sort of situation. So I think that whole behavior is just
oh, sorry, he's like crawling on my leg. But so being a reptile whisperer, I guess, is also the thing that makes me really good at rescuing reptiles too.
Yeah.
Because, a lot of these animals, I don't know, you have to have them want to have the will to live. It's not enough to just,
Sit there and
take them
breathe.
to the vet, give them the medications and, put the food in there. You have to get them comfortable and, trusting so that they will eat, so that they'll be okay with, you giving them the medications and, they'll want to live, if they have something to live for. You know what I mean? I don't know. Like with mine, I don't know. They just get very friendly, I guess you would say. Like when you are just constantly babying them, the rescued animals, when you're constantly babying them every day, they just, I don't know, they just form this attachment to you. They'll start like coming right at the door and wanting to come out, and they look forward to your daily interactions, even though sometimes it might not be pleasant, like if you're sticking medication in their mouth or whatever.
Yeah. I really do think they know, though, like animals
I think so.
in need. I mean, as a vet myself, I've kind of ran into that. Like they know when you are helping them. Kind of give that appreciation back to us. I've kind of seen, not with every patient, but definitely some in school, some more than others will. Hard to explain, but I think you kind of are talking about it too, that you just...
Yeah, I think they do, because at the same time, like, especially with rescues, you don't know what they're, I mean, you could, like, somebody could tell you, oh, this animal was abandoned, they left it in the house and the family moved out, or like, you'll know the basic situation of the animal. But a lot of times there's that whole social behavior that they either lack or they were abused or something like that, and that you don't know. And I'm sorry, but I think that animals in general can tell the difference between a positive interaction as opposed to a negative one.
Oh, for sure. I've seen on so much on the dog part of it that come from abusive homes that have so much like literal PTSD going forward into a new home. Like they are scarred, unfortunately. Sometimes they can't be reversed, unfortunately. Now on the reptile side, I'm sure that's maybe...
No, that happens too with reptiles, because I've seen it. Like some of the reptiles that I get as rescues, or even just some that I get in general that are older and that have had experience with humans already, they might not like men. And there's a reason why.
Yeah.
Because, when, I mean, I don't know, I'm really not a fan of grabbing reptiles and constraining them, And of course, that's going to be traumatic for them because, to them, we look like huge predators, right? So when you do that, the reptiles have like a very negative experience. And let's just say that they're with someone that's the only physical contact that they have with human beings, is just, so they learn to expect that. Okay, so every time I see a human, they're going to grab me, they're going to restrain me, and some people are not very gentle either with them, so I think some of these animals that I've gotten that just don't like men, I think, maybe they have had experiences like that in the past, or I don't know.
No, I think it is that too. And also there's that, I think a lot of times like reptiles can pick up female from male.
Oh yeah.
So it's almost like a dominance thing.
For sure.
For solitary reptiles or, animals like that, like they can pick up like, oh, that's a potential mate, or that's a potential male trying to take my territory. Do I become the submissive one, or do I, fight this male or whatever? So they can pick that up and stuff.
Sure.
Like perfect example, like when I don't feel well, my monitors are less rambunctious and less apt to pissing me off and like annoying me or anything like that. Like they're very, very calm, and they'll come and check out to see like what's going on, and they'll just sit put, just like there's the long tongue flicking, going
Yeah.
on, the whole behavior, like, their mind's working. They're trying to figure things out. Like, why isn't she getting up and making coffee? Like, why isn't, like, why can't we hear the tapping on the keyboard or something? Like,
Yeah.
things like that. Like, they pick up on
Very
it.
routine. Yeah. Oh yeah. Routine is everything. You change the routine and it's almost like it's a little form of a stress, but I think it's a form of enrichment too, because it
Yes.
gets them to kind of
Yes.
process or think like, okay, why is the routine, especially in smart species like your monitors and things like that.
Oh, yeah, they
Yep.
love routine.
Gotta
The
have that.
monitors, for sure.
Yeah.
And even like after laundry day and stuff like that, like changing out the bed sheets. Oh my goodness, it's rubbing against the bed sheets. They have to pull the top sheet off and try to work the fitted sheet off. They go through this whole song and dance that lasts for about maybe 1 or 2 hours, and then they don't care about the bed as long as they could just lay on it, but they won't go back there. Like, they just, okay, I did my thing. Like, I checked it out, all these different smells or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
And it's funny to see you just move that one thing or change that one thing, and they're on it.
Yeah.
Do they like your shoes? Because my monitors love shoes. They
Really?
Shoes
Yeah,
and
because they're smelly.
Yeah.
And they'll rub their bodies like they go crazy over my shoes. They'll just start rubbing themselves all over it.
Yeah.
My black dragon steals my socks. Steals my socks. He will go into the laundry bag. The laundry bag, since I've moved here in the apartment, like, the laundry bag has moved to every room. Now it's literally like where the water heaters are at, because I can't trust him. He gets in the bag, and then next, you'll see a trail of clothes. And then
Oh my gosh.
he's got this spot in the bathroom, and he always goes there, and there you'll always find the soggy socks, because by that point he's already like gotten them in the tub. He's already like dragged them into his enclosures. Like, I don't know. I don't know what it is, but it's my socks.
It's dirty socks or worn
Yes.
socks? Yeah. I would think it's probably the smell of you too, or just something different.
Oh,
That
yeah.
I mean,
For
I
sure.
mean, my dogs love bad socks. Like, I don't know if it's like they try to eat it. It's like, why? It's a stinky used sock. Like, to us it doesn't make, but they're very smell oriented. So
yeah, monitors are like that too. And Newt's pillowcases. Newt, he's got neurological issues, so he tends to sleep on his back. And what he'll do is he'll do like a whole flip thing. Like, he looks like a river otter, just
interesting.
going all around the pillow. And then once he settles down underneath it with his belly up, just holding onto the pillow like that.
Huh.
And if it's a pillowcase, he'll get in the pillowcase. Like, he'll destroy pillowcases on me. When I buy pillowcases, I have to buy like 4 instead of 2, like, because of him.
That's
Yeah,
funny.
my tree monitors, they'll get in like the pillowcases too, but they'll get in everything, or like anything, like even my clothes. Like, sometimes I'll be holding the tree monitors, and they'll just like start like tongue flicking, and then all of a sudden they're like, whoosh, they're like down in my shirt, or like.
Have you ever come across, like, and I've heard this not only monitors though, I've heard them from leopard geckos and from bearded dragons, where once they like establish a bond with you and they crawl all over you, whether it's your head, your face, your hoodie, or whatever, that sometimes they can get nippy. Like, they'll nip at like your necklace or the collar of your shirt or whatever. Not necessarily you, but they're like pulling.
That sounds like maybe a curious animal, but no, none of mine have ever tried to do anything like that.
Newt is nippy. Newt will, if I put on a hoodie or something that is washed, that I haven't worn more than once, he'll start grabbing and pulling at it.
He's probably curious.
And I'm just like,
curious, and it's how they're like tactile. Like, that's another tactile force for them is the mouth. It's because we're
they
so
don't have
like
hands.
hands.
Yeah.
They get a lot of that sense, taste, smell, feeling through the mouth, essentially. So I think that's probably where that's coming from. But Kat, what other how do you bond with your tree monitors? How do you recommend somebody like what kind of tricks and tips have you kind of gained over the years on those guys?
Well, like I was saying earlier, whenever you first get one, like you have to earn its trust, right? So a good way to earn the trust is don't be too loud, don't move too fast, try to be very gentle with them. Don't try to force anything. And whenever you have them out, I would say, again, like don't constrain, because if you constrain them, they're going to see you as a predator and they're going to be really freaked out. So, and it also depends too, like what kind of tree monitor do you have? Do you have a wild caught tree monitor? Because those are going to be scared to death of you
For a while.
Yeah. Or do you have a captive born baby? Because the captive born babies are very different. They're not afraid of people. I don't know why they're like that, but they're just very friendly from the start. The little babies are. And like you could just stick your hand in there and they'll just all run over and jump on and be crawling all over you. And tree monitors, all of them, all the different species that I've had 5 different species now. And they all have the same, like, very curious personality. Like they're very, very curious. They're going to want to check you out. Like I said, they'll want to see what's in your clothes. They're going to try to get in your hair. And the best thing to do is just let them, just stand there very still, let them investigate and see that, you are okay. You're all right. But with the wild ones, what you can do, let me get this guy. Don't crawl away on me, buddy. With the wild ones, you're going to have to be really gentle with them. You can do stuff like start to tongue feed them if you can. At first, they might not even eat at all from you because they're just too afraid of people. So you'll just have to figure out what it is that they're going to eat, because they are really picky eaters most of the time. Some of them will only want crickets. Some of them will only want grasshoppers. Some of them will only want whatever you have. But yeah, you just have to figure it out what they're going to eat, get them eating, get them drinking, start getting them established. And once they're doing that, and they're like settled in, then you can start on trying to interact with them, because like I said, like with the wild ones, they're so afraid that if you try to mess with them too much in the beginning, they're not going to adjust. They're not going to eat. They'll just wither away. They'll get very sick, So you have to really try to acclimate those first. And then just, start getting them used to your presence, like to the point where, they're not running away every time they see you standing in front of their cage. And again, just try to, start with food, offering that with mine. And this is because I'm me, and I don't know if I would recommend everybody to do this unless you have a way with animals or reptiles, but you could start to try and take them out and get them used to being held. But again, like, I don't know, not everybody is able to do that. Not everybody has that ability to be very like gentle and quiet, and you know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Any little wrong move can just reverse what you've been trying to. It takes you 5 steps back,
I always tell people that if they are that much in a rush, like your best bet is probably to just put your hand in the enclosure just for a little bit and just hang out and talk to them. And they look at me like, you're telling me to talk to a reptile? And it's like, yeah, just have a conversation. Tell them if you're a sports fan, have at it. Tell them
Yeah.
why they lost and who did what and what didn't do whatever. But just have a normal tone conversation. Let them know that that voice, whenever it comes into the room, that hand, whenever the enclosure opens, is not necessarily something to fear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I
a lot
wonder-
of times they do come around.
I wonder if you speak like positive things to them too. Like, have you guys heard about that experiment where I can't remember, I think it was rice in water or something, and they had one where they spoke like negative things to it for
Yeah,
3
I
days,
read that.
and then another one
Yes,
positive, and it got moldy, and the
Yes.
things that talk same environment, same. So I'm wondering, I would be curious on.
Oh yeah, animals can definitely pick up on your
not?
vibe. They
Yeah.
can definitely pick up on your vibe.
I think
You know?
I forgot. I don't remember who it was. This is I want to say it's last year, but it could be even older. Somebody posted they were taking a video of a friend of theirs with their black dragon, and black dragons doing what they do, curious, crawling on the lap, and the guy said, "Hello there, fucker." And the owner said, "Don't talk to him like that."
Yeah.
And the post that came out after that was like, yeah, if that were me, you would not be even around my animal and stuff. But I think that is huge.
Yeah.
That is huge. Like that whole, because I think the guy kind of knew that, he's being videoed, and you have this not giant, the animal wasn't really that big, but I was thinking like maybe he was like 2 feet. And I'm pretty sure that guy was scared. I'm pretty sure that guy is there like, I don't know what this animal is going to do to me. And I'm pretty sure the monitor picked that up. But the monitor, being social, was still being curious, was still approaching him.
Yeah.
And then he came out with that comment. The owner was like, yeah, don't talk to him like that.
Well, I would say in general, because like I always recommend this to people too, like when you're trying to earn the trust of monitor lizards, if you don't do it the way I do it, the best other way to do it, it's just going to take a slower time. But again, it's through the food, like the tongue feeding and just being around where they can see you and watch you. And then like eventually working, up to the point where you're holding the tongs of food like above your hand. So they have to walk on your hand to get the food. And then it's like maybe on your shoulder and get them to walk up there. It's like baby steps, oh my gosh, he's pushing the computer.
Yeah, boy.
He wants to get in on it. He's got okay.
So like, it's baby steps with them, but again, if you are someone like me who does have a way with animals, then the faster way to do it would just be to have very gentle interactions with them and try to coax them on your hand and whatever else, you can do, and just let them crawl on your body and investigate. I mean, that's how I tamed my first wild caught tree monitor, which was Jade. She's not around anymore. But yeah, with her, I mean, I don't know. She was trusting and tame like a captive born one in like a week.
Oh,
and that's very fast for a tree monitor. But that's because, like I was at home, I was at home. I was a stay-at-home mom. So like I could just, continuously interact with her all the time. Plus I had to give her medicine anyway, because she had a respiratory infection and she had parasites. She had worms. So like I had to take her out anyway, every single day to give her the meds. So like during those interactions, after the hard part, getting the meds in, I would try to let her out and, explore and keep a very close eye. And like I said, these monitors are really curious. Yeah. So like giving them something to investigate, they're like, wow, this is pretty cool. Like I don't have to be stuck in, a box, in this cage. I don't have to be confined if, I can be out here. And then she just would look forward to coming out all the time because she was like, she knew that she get to explore stuff, and she knew that I wasn't, going to hurt her and nothing bad was going to happen. And yeah, so she became tame very quickly. And my other tree monitor, Emerald, the first one I ever got, he was born in captivity to a wild mom.
So he's an F1.
Yeah, because I guess his mom was already gravid when she was imported, and then she laid eggs, and they hatched out. But he was the only one that hatched out, so I got him, and he was never afraid of me. Never, not even coming out of the box. On the day that I got him, he was never afraid. And he was like 2 months old, and he just like came out. He was like checking me out and crawling all over. And oh my gosh, he was such a joy. Like, I just fell in love with the tree monitors after him. That's why I got, Jade, the wild caught one.
Mm-hmm.
And then the two of them, man, they just had babies over and over and over again until they passed away. 14 years, both of them.
Jeez, that's a long time. My goodness.
Wow.
So wait, as for now, like, how many reptiles do you have now?
Oh my God, I don't know.
The question we all hate.
Come on, you should know better.
I don't know.
I would have to like think about that, because what happens. Okay, so you have these animals, and then they have babies, and then also people keep trying to give me stuff, because like, okay, so I do rescue, but also sometimes I take animals in for my friends because I'm real. Like I said, I'm the reptile whisperer. I'm really good at this stuff. So like sometimes I have friends that'll be like, hey, I just got this like wild caught, tree monitor or, whatever. And so they'll be like, hey, can you take it in? Can you get it established for me? And I'll be like, yeah, sure. Send it to me. So like, I'll get these tree monitors and, I'll take them to my vet, get them the meds, get them used to people, get them eating and everything. And then I'll either like, sell them for my friends or give them back or whatever. And it's not just the tree monitors. People do this. People send me other reptiles too, other monitors, iguanas. Hey, can you tame this down for me?
You go. There's the business. The reptiles.
Except I don't get paid.
Service.
Well, you should charge for
I don't get paid. I'm actually
grant.
losing money because I'm taking care of these animals for free.
No,
no. You know what? Let me be your executive assistant here. Something's wrong. I would like just at least take the girl for dinner. Do something.
Yeah.
Like, no.
Oh, you're worth more. You're worth. That experience is worth something.
You could even have like I forgot who.
No, I love the animals.
You could even have like a meet and greet at an expo and explain this and sit there with people and explain to them this is how you approach and this and that. And if you want my services,
yeah, I'd be a millionaire.
Socialization services, and then that only means you need to get Mike's monitor's socialization enclosure.
Oh yeah,
I can go with the Kathryn Brown's Reptile Whisperer Socializing. I can't even talk. I can't even say that quick enough. Like it's not even coming out. It's like the Mike's Monitor Socialization Enclosure with Kathryn. I could see the DVD set on an infomercial.
Oh
I can so see it. And it's like,
well,
Kathryn Brown's
you have
Reptile Whisperer Socialization Services. Collect all 16 DVDs and learn how to work with your reptile.
Oh my God.
Oh, now.
Well, that's why I started my my YouTube channel, because I wanted to show people, how my animals were with me and how I did things, because like nobody would believe me, because those were back in the days where everything was just on the forums,
Yeah.
And so like, people would be like, oh yeah, right, blah, blah, blah.
I'm happy you weren't part of that crew.
And oh yeah, Krista, those days.
You're lucky.
No, yeah, I bypassed that.
You went, woo!
Yeah. But like, so I started making the videos of my tree monitors, because people before that were like, oh, there's no way that, if it's friendly, that means it's dying,
Oh
and
my
like all
God,
this
yeah.
stuff. Yeah.
Mm.
And I was like, look, I'm going to show you on these videos. I'm going to show you that mine are they're healthy and they want to come with me. And, like I would show the videos, like how my monitors would follow me around in the house and how they would follow me around outside and how I could call their name and they would come to me. Like, I don't know. I guess people don't, well, back then they didn't really understand that reptiles have the emotional capacity to form bonds with their owners and exhibit these types of behaviors, right?
Yeah.
But it wasn't just the monitors either. It was like my tokay geckos, because that's another species that I keep and breed. And like all my tokays are really friendly. And people
that's unheard of.
yeah,
That's
and
unheard of.
they're like, how are you doing that? So then I made this video called like taming a tokay or whatever. So I was like trying to show like how I am very slow when I approach them and they don't bite me because I'm not doing anything that
as a threat.
yeah. So, and that it takes time, they're not going to trust you overnight. So like you really have to put in the time, and it's like, okay, every single day at a certain time, you're going to work with that animal for 10 to 15 minutes. At least that's the minimum, right? Every single day, because if you don't, then it's not gonna happen. You really have to make a time commitment for that.
I have friends who come over who say that they want monitors because they want that interaction that like mine have when they come over, and mine just stroll right up to them. Or when I call one as opposed to the other, and they're like, oh, that's, and I'm like, you have to understand, I'm home with them all day.
Yeah.
I work from home. I'm out of the office, I'm in the office, it's just like once a week. And if I have any plans, it's usually later on in the day. And they're asleep. So they are constantly interacting with me. So I know people that have like 3 jobs, and it's like, you really should not have an animal like a monitor. Actually, you shouldn't have any animal besides maybe a fish tank or something like that with a community fish, something that's not necessarily gonna go crazy because you can't interact with it, you can't socialize with it, you can't form a bond with it. Like Mike Stefani said it best, and it's like, you ever see people who have been isolated or in confinement, and they slowly lose their marbles. They slowly deteriorate because there's no interaction. And they said that's exactly what happens with these animals, because they're so smart. They need that brain to keep going. They need to learn. They need to, and you're supposed to be providing that for them. And that doesn't mean, you can have the biggest enclosure in the world. You can have a 3-bedroom apartment converted into one enclosure for a monitor lizard. But unless there's some kind of stimulation for his brain, some form of interaction with you, it's gonna be not.
Because they're very intelligent. As far as reptiles go, monitor lizards are one of the more intelligent reptiles. And I think that's why they're my favorite out of all reptiles as monitors, because
I love all animals, all animals, insects, whatever. I love it. But monitors,
me too. The monitors, because with the monitors, they're so smart and they're very interesting and fun to watch their behaviors, but also you get to form these really nice bonds, like the pet owner bond with them. Like I was saying earlier, like mine will follow me around my house, and outside without a leash, my tree monitors. And like, they're just so sweet, they always want to like hang out with me and stuff, and I really, really, I don't know, I really love that, I really love that interaction and, everything that we have together. I don't know. And the other reptiles, I don't know, they're not the same. Maybe iguanas can be a little bit,
Yeah, I think they
around
can.
and, seek out your attention, but like they don't rub on you like a cat, like the monitor lizards. Like I love that. Like when they jump on me, my tree monitors, and they're just like, they just start, showing me the love like that, and I'm like, oh, I love you too.
I get preened. Yeah, I actually get preened. Like after they do laps, and they do their soaking, they do their basking, and then there's like a good 15 to 20 minute window where it's one of those, one of them will lay on me, and then it's the preening through the hair, like not necessarily biting or anything like that, but you hear like that.
Gator likes my hair. Gator loves my hair. He's always trying to get in it.
Or he even one time I thought I was gonna like, oh my God, my heart like fell to my stomach because I thought Ree actually was going to grab and pull my lip ring. And it was poop. And it wasn't that. He was preening. It was in his head that it's like stuck shed or whatever. I mean, I've never seen them in mating habitat, like, like the behaviors for mating. Like, I don't know if a pair of monitors do this to each other.
Well, whenever monitors,
like he will literally start like preening my jewelry, my hair, and then just like rubbing his face, against mine, and then take a nap.
Well, when monitor lizards breed, the male will do like a head twitch.
Yeah,
and he'll do it all over the female, trying to get her to like, I don't know, accept him or something. But yeah, they'll just like do this like little head twitch at first, and they'll start like, maybe with the front claws.
Yeah,
like kind of like rake a little bit, Yeah. And then, they slowly get in position and try to, do their thing. And either the girls are like, all right, fine, and they just like let it happen, or they're like, hell no.
They're like, oh no, you gotta move
at the last.
Move number two. You gotta move number two a little to the left. Move number one to the right. That stuff. But
yeah, they're funny to watch. They're funny to watch because, like, especially with the tree monitors, like they try to breed in all these weird ass like positions, like even upside down. They'll be trying to breed like upside down, like hanging in here, or like the one time they were trying to breed on top of their water, and I'm like, what are you guys even doing?
Oh my
god. So my first pair of tree monitors, so I don't know if you know this, Krista, but tree monitors can use their front claws at like hands, like fingers and hands. Okay, so like, oh my god, Emerald, the male, Emerald and Jade, they were together, and like he wanted to breed with her, and she was just like a little bit like in front of him on this like cork tube or whatever, and she started to like walk away slowly, and he took his hand. I shit you not. He took his hand and he grabbed her by the base of the tail and he was like, come back here.
Get over here. He did a Mortal Kombat move. Get over here.
Oh my God. It's some like 50 scales of gray right here.
I was like, damn. Like, what is happening?
Have mercy.
Said, not today, woman.
Yeah, that was
today.
Crazy. That was crazy.
I'm gonna interject real quick. Otherwise, MJ is gonna get on me. But I'm gonna play 2 commercials really quickly, and then we'll get back. Yeah,
go ahead.
And then we'll keep going. But yeah, he'll get on me if I don't play him. So let me
play him.
Sorry for the interruption, folks, but a quick word from our sponsors. Diversity when it comes to a reptile diet, I feel like, is so important. So this is why I'm proud to announce today's sponsor, Blake Exotic Feeders over in Florida.
What is up, everybody? Blake here, the owner of Blake's Exotic Feeders. We have all quail available at all times, produced here at my ranch from button day old, from Coturnic day old, all the way to extra large Coturnic quail. If you guys have any questions, DM on Instagram. Appreciate the support, you guys. Make sure you guys hit me up. We have all the quail like I mentioned, and everything is shipped right here from my house.
If you want the #1 quail sent to your doorstep and more importantly fed to your reptile, no better company than to go to than Blake Exotic Feeders. #1 quality in quail, hands down, and I gotta tell you, my reptiles love it just as much. It'll give you a peace of mind to know that these quail are grown on his property and it's not bought third party. Head over to his website, Blake Exotic Animal Ranch, to place your order, or you could just hit him up directly on Instagram. Let him know that the trap sent you and he'll take extra good care of you. Thank you so much, Blake, for supporting the trap, and also thank you so much for sending me top quality homegrown quail for my animals. For the #1 PVC enclosures in the reptile game, no better place to visit than Focus Cube Habitats. Excited for today's sponsor, Focus Cube Habitats, #1 enclosures in the reptile game by far. Everything you see behind me are 3x2x2 PVC design enclosures by Steven and Ashley over at Focus Cube Habitats. They're based out of Texas. If you head over to their website, you can select from over 30 plus different enclosure designs that they've done. Two of the hardest working people in the reptile hobby today, and I'm so excited to add more Focus Cube enclosures. So much again, Steven and Ashley, I appreciate the 5+ years of partnerships that we've had together. Looking forward to growing more. Head over to focuscubehabitats.com, head over to their YouTube channel, subscribe, and check them out on Instagram. Thank you so much, Focus Cube Habitats. Cheers! Sorry for the interruption, folks, but a quick word from our sponsors. One of the things I love about being a part of the reptile industry is all the learning, okay? Learning can be fun, and I can prove that to you. Thank you so much to today's sponsor, it's Gary Scabino over at gs.reptiles. I highly recommend you head over to his YouTube channel, follow all this man's content when it comes to learning about rare species of snakes you could be keeping in the hobby, and also just finding out how easy a lot of these rare species of snakes are to keep in general. So thank you so much, Gary Scabino of GS Reptiles. Again, head over to his YouTube channel. Also head over to his Instagram to be on top of all of his current work and be ready for a big year over at GS Reptiles. Thank you so much, Gary, for your ongoing support. I really appreciate it. Cheers. One of the biggest growths we have in the reptile industry today are the rare species of reptiles that aren't worked with. That's right. That's why I went ahead and partnered up again with Brian Susan over at SUNDOWN Reptiles. Brian works with species such as kahua geckos, gargoyle geckos, all species of tree monitors. He works with abronia and many other cool species geckos that you can check out all on his website. Head over to sundownreptiles.com, see what he has available. Brian's one of the best doing it in the reptile industry today. He's been on the show multiple times, so make sure you check out all of Brian Susan's episodes on Trap Talk Reptile Network. But more importantly, for the highest quality of captive bred reptiles, make sure you head over to sundownreptiles.com and make sure you give him a follow on Instagram. Thank you again, Brian Susan over at SUNDOWN Reptiles.
Woo!
Awesome.
I love those commercials. Those are great. Cool.
I know. I kind of like I miss my Trap Talk fam. That's for sure. Can't wait to get back to it.
Monitors, they're so cool. I just know I won't be able to give them the time that they would deserve. That would have to be something if I retired or something like that and had more time. Maybe even then though, because I'm older, they live a long time. So I don't know. I feel like more in the dog world too. That's a thing where you have people that get certain breeds that should not be getting certain breeds. I feel like the same thing applies to reptiles too. Sadly, yeah, they're super cool, but are they? So, what's the ideal person that you would say that could be a good fit for like a tree monitor, for instance?
Well, someone that has time to provide all the care. Also someone who's willing to take their animals to a vet, because with tree monitors, exactly. Because you really need to be able to do that with the tree monitors, especially if you're getting wild caught ones, because they all have parasites. They're all going to need to be treated. A lot of times they have respiratory infections when you first get them too. They could also have like the protozoa flagellates infection. Or maybe some other kind of like wound or abscess, or, it's rare to get one that, comes in and it's just like looking great and, everything's fine.
Yeah. So have a good reptile vet in the,
And
it sounds like common sense, right? But that's one of my
Yeah.
pet peeves, that people will just get reptiles and then something happens. They're like, oh, I don't have a vet local to me. I'm like, that should have been the first
Exactly.
thought before you get into it's. Anyways, continue. But that's one of my peeves.
So yeah,
Thank
so
you.
make sure that you have a good vet, that you're gonna go to if anything arises and you need it. The other thing is be prepared to build a cage or buy a cage that is like the size of the one behind me. That's like the minimum size for a tree monitor, and that's 6 foot tall, 4 foot wide, and 2 feet deep. I used to do the I used to build them like 2.5 feet deep, just so that they could fit through doorways if I moved. But it was such a tight fit that I still had to take the doors off. So then I started building them 2 feet deep instead, because that way, it's a lot easier to move them in and out of doorways.
That's smart.
In your house.
Yep.
How much time do you think it takes, like maybe for one or group, like, theoretically,
So for the daily care for mine, I will spray and mist the entire enclosure every single morning, and I also mist and spray every single evening. And when I used to live in Colorado, where the air is drier, I would also use a fogger for a couple of hours in the morning. Like right after I would do my morning spray, I would turn on the fogger. It would run for like a couple hours. And then after the fogger was off, then the rest of the cage could dry out, during the day, because you don't want it constantly wet. That's how, stuff grows. Yeah. So like you want to let it dry out in between during the day. And then again at night, before you go to bed, you're misting the whole entire thing again. You also need to be able to change the water every single day, because they don't like drinking dirty water. And sometimes they won't drink it at all if it's stale water, even if it doesn't look dirty. Like mine are really spoiled. Most of the time they'll wait until the morning and I'm spraying so that they can be hand watered with the sprayer. They're like, I'm a princess, like, give me my water, give me my food. I actually had to break my first pair of tree monitors from that, because it got to the point where every single day I was hand watering and hand feeding, that when I would put the food in there, they would just look at the bowl and look at me like, I'm waiting. And I'm like, are you serious?
Feed me, peasant.
Yeah, I was like, are you serious right now? So then, like, I stopped doing that every day.
They sound like cats. They sound like cats. Like this little thing right here, is pretentious. Yeah, it's funny.
Yeah. So like, and you do have to have time to like do things like collect leaves from outside in fall and put it in the cage. And also, like I said, like building cages, buying all the stuff that you need for that. You also need to do some kind of stimulation. So like I'll do like I'll get like oh my God, I can't even talk. Like branches from outside. Like I go on my nature walks on the Appalachian Trail, and I'll bring home some sticks or something, and I'll take them out, and they'll climb out, and they're like, "Oh, what is this?" And they'll be tongue flicking all over the stick or whatever, and checking that out. I also let them crawl around the house. I'll let them crawl around outside. But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't just get one and then have it in the cage forever, because I think that'd be really sad, because they are a very curious species. They're a very active species. Yeah. That's why you need a cage like this is the minimum, because when they're awake, they're always like running around, jumping on stuff, So, I mean, I don't know.
Sounds like a couple hours a day.
Yeah, sure. I know for mine,
and it's not like all at once either. It's
no,
I get this question a lot, where it's got to be like a consistent amount of day. Like the moment their day starts, it's should be a few hours or an hour. Let's just say every few hours or whatever. But it's got to be spread during the day until nighttime. You know, when they pass
you have
out.
to feed them every day too.
And you
you
yeah.
know, they're
Yeah.
not like a snake that's gonna eat every, you know, few days or, you know,
I mean,
once a week or whatever.
When
They
you
eat
do
every
come
single
across
day.
like Asian water monitors, you don't have to feed them every day, but some people do. I give them like smaller portions, and then they have the heavier days and things like that. But trees are every day.
The tree
Yeah.
monitors, the tree
Definitely.
monitors are mainly insectivores. So they need that food every day. And I would say like an adult can probably eat like 1 to 2 dozen insects every single day.
Wow.
You know?
Yeah, that's a lot.
And so you got to be prepared for that. So I bulk order crickets.
Mm.
And then I got the carrying of the crickets.
3,000
Crickets are nasty.
How do you keep
nasty.
crickets? How do you keep the crickets?
Like you gotta feed them. You gotta clean that. You gotta clean that bin before it smells
exactly.
like hot
So,
open
yeah,
ass
well,
in the
the
summer.
big-
Like no.
Yeah, I have a big Rubbermaid
Yep.
bin that I made into like a cricket bin. You know, there's screen on the top,
Mhm.
and then there's like paper towel rolls in the bottom. I mean, I line it with newspaper, and then I have paper towel rolls on the bottom. And then like 24 hours before I feed the crickets to the reptiles, I gut load, which for me is anything that's colorful, you know, fruits, vegetables, greens that are colorful, you know, because I want to make sure that they're getting carotenoids in their diet when they're eating the stuff, because otherwise then the tree monitors will start to turn weird colors. Like green ones will turn blue.
Oh,
They
interesting.
don't have enough carotenoids in their diet, you know? So you have to do that and just, you know, make sure they're getting all the nutrients when they're eating their insects. So I always gut load like about 24 hours before actually feeding them.
Yeah, I even do that with my spiders.
How do you keep the crickets like hydrated? I always have a hard time, like they just die on me.
Yeah, I don't do anything except add like the fruits and vegetables and leafy greens.
I spray the vegetables.
They get the moisture from the food.
Yeah, but I also will always leave like a very shallow, like an ashtray. Take a sliced potato. I just let it soak in there. I just let them nibble on that. They'll get the moisture off of that as well. I mean, they do have the gel packs, you know, for them. But I'm kind of like really weirded out by that too. So I tend to just always miss the vegetables and the fruits that I give them. Sometimes even like if I get like a melon or like a watermelon, but I leave it in a shallow water of, you know, a little shallow dish of water. And then they'll just drink that all up.
Interesting. Okay. I'll have to try that after I move and everything and see if I can keep them a little bit.
Yeah, I can't keep. I have a few tarantulas, and I have like a colony of whiptail scorpions, and I always tell myself that like I'm gonna buy in bulk. And then it's like I have 20 of them, and then the smell, and I'm just like, I'm never buying them in bulk. Like, no, can't do it. No, and they hate roaches.
That's
none of my insects will eat dubia roaches. I had like 1 million roaches at one point because none of them will eat them. They only eat crickets. They'll eat mealworms once in a blue moon. But yeah.
Interesting. Yep. I got some knobtails and knobtail geckos last week, and they're like, I have leopard geckos and they eat primarily mealworms, but the knobtails like only like that as a treat. So I got some like red runner roaches, but I'm moving to Florida in the summer where you can't have the red runners there. So I'm like, okay, I'm probably gonna have to learn how to do crickets, like order in bulk and keep them alive. I'm probably gonna have to do that. I think some roaches are allowed in Florida, but they may bury in the sand, and then the knobtails like
you might not see them right. That's the issue.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to learn how to do
a lot of greens with the crickets, and they'll be fine until you feed them off. You know,
it's not like I'm doing a ton of knobtails. They don't eat that much. They eat like, I don't know, 2 or 3 crickets in a setting, you know, every couple days. So it's not, they don't eat a ton. They just eat a few big meals and that's it. So
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's not, they don't eat a ton.
Those are so cute. I love them.
Oh, I'm so
They're really
glad. They're adorable. I love them. Their eyes, they just don't even look,
Yes.
they don't even look real. They
You know
look
what they
like
look? They
fake.
remind me of like chibi, like anime chibi.
Yes,
Like,
anime.
they make those anime chibi cartoon like, and I just see them and I just hear them talking in Japanese.
Yeah.
I'm just like, you're not real. You're a cartoon,
Yeah.
and they're gonna give you like a little backpack, and you're gonna be like bouncing around or whatever. Like
That's how I feel about the scorpion tail geckos. Have you seen those?
I have
yes,
seen
They are
those.
the cutest, aren't
Yeah.
they? They're
yes,
so
they
cute.
are.
They look
Yeah.
crazy though. They don't look real to me, but
That's
they're-
what I feel like the knobtails. Like if you look at the
Yeah.
knobtail's face, it looks like it's like the AI.
Yeah,
Like it's created from AI. Like that's not a real animal. You know, like there's no way.
they're otherwise like super easy to keep. Like here's like the male.
Yeah, look at their face. Kathryn, look at that face.
Yeah, that's the male.
That's
And this is like
cute.
the female.
Oh my God, look at them.
Aw,
Yeah.
that's cute.
Yeah, no, I'm super excited about that. But yeah, anyways, cricket tangent there. But I'm like, I need to figure out how to like keep them separate. Right now, I'm doing the roaches. Right now, I'm like, hey,
Do
we're
whatever
gonna do this right
now. Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
all right. Well, we're coming up a little bit over an hour. I know we talked a little bit beforehand to kind of keep it kind of wrapped up. I like the kind of shorter conversations too. Sometimes keep it real, like pointed, focused. I think we talked a lot about monitor behavior, a little bit of their care. Kind of finishing it up. One last question I kind of wanted to ask was in regard to your rehabbing and taking them in, rescuing. What's like I would say like the biggest kind of story or experience that you've had that you've learned so much from that was like a positive experience that you learned from?
I don't know that there's maybe one experience that was more than some of the others. I mean, I could tell you a lot of experiences.
Yeah. It's hard work. It's very hard. It's draining on
Like-
you mentally, so all power to
Yeah,
you
like
for doing those things.
like when I first started out doing the reptile rescue, it was with a veterinarian who was new to exotic medicine, and she was telling me that she didn't really know too much about reptiles, like stuff like, oh, she knew that they needed UV lights and she knew that they needed calcium plus D3 and all of that, but she didn't really understand why. So like, yeah, so like I like explained all of that to her, and I was like trying to tell her all this stuff, and she agreed. She told me that she would work on the rescue reptiles for free. All I would have to do is pay for the medications and materials used, but she would work on them for free so that she could learn about reptiles and how to like help them and whatever. Yeah. So in doing stuff with her, it was like we were actually both learning, because I ended up buying my first reptile vet book. What was it called? Reptile medicine and surgery.
We have one of those at work. Yeah.
And so I bought that for her to use, but I also used it. Like I read that thing from front to back,
Wow.
And just so that I could educate myself. And then also like whenever we got in like a new rescue, like I already had a good idea of what was kind of going on. And I could just be like, okay, well, let's check for this. Let's do, some blood work and look at this, or, let's culture this. And we ended up having this one chameleon. Actually, like
he's like, she's out.
I see it back there. He's like, I'm gonna sleep now.
Ozzy's like, she's talking. I'm gonna go over
I
here.
know, right? Well, like, okay, so we had this one chameleon, this one rescue, and it was an Auslitz chameleon. Do you know what those are?
Auslitz, yeah.
They're huge. They are huge. So, like the size of a tiny cat. So like this Auschwitz chameleon, he was 1 pound. That's how big he was.
Wow.
Okay. He was very, very big.
Wow.
And he was found roaming around in the wilds of Colorado in the trees and stuff, right? And he had this those like wristbands that people give to you like at the reptile shows that are like neon or whatever. Okay, there was one of those around his neck. Okay. And I'll tell you, like his original owner found me after the fact. Okay. And he started explaining that this chameleon didn't get loose and was found in the wild. He put him there. So like the owner was, and I know they had the best intention. They love their chameleon, but he was taking this chameleon that's from Madagascar, okay, out into the wilds of Colorado with him camping. And he put this thing around his neck so that he could release him into the trees. And then later on, he'd be able to find him, shining a flashlight and stuff. And he was like, oh yeah, for bed at night, I would just put him on a rock and I would put my jacket over top of him and go to sleep. And in the morning, I would just take him out of my jacket and let him roam in the trees again. And so, like, I guess he eventually got away from his owner then, on one of these camping trips or whatever. So let me tell you, this chameleon, and this is so sad. This is why you should not ever do something like this, okay? It's so sad. That chameleon got fungus that is normally found in wild birds, okay? This chameleon had 3 types of fungus. It had reptile fungus as one, and then the other 2 types of fungus were from wild birds.
Wow.
And I'll tell you, he was so infected with the fungus, it wasn't just on the skin, it was internal. So he had it in his body too. So it was very hard to treat. And like the only reason we knew this is because we decided to do a culture on the fungus. We decided to look it up and see what types we were dealing with so that we knew what type of medication to give him. Okay. And this is very important for anybody who is watching. Whenever you take your reptiles to the vet, if it has a fungal infection or whatever it is, test to see what it is, because different things need different medications. So this poor chameleon, so he ended up getting like conophyte lotion for the lesions that were on his skin, right? But then he also had to have this antifungal medication orally every day. Sorry. My daughter's boyfriend is going through the kitchen and my chihuahuas are like going off. So anyway, so this chameleon, at first, and these antifungal medications, they're very hard on reptile bodies, they're very hard on them.
Kidneys. Yeah.
So like you have to make sure that they're like really well hydrated, they're getting plenty of water. So like with him, his name was Rex. I would give him like some water by hand to make sure he was getting it. And then also, all these different antifungal medications. So like the first round of treatment, he looked like he was getting better. The lesions started to heal. Everything started to be okay. And then a couple months down the road, bam, more fungal lesions start springing up over his body. Again, he started having problems, take him back to the vet. Same thing. He had, I guess, the medicine didn't totally knock it out. So he had to be retreated again. Then after the second treatment, he seemed like he was doing good and that he was like getting better. And I was like, oh, finally this time, definitely it'll be cleared up. No, a few months later, again, it came back again. And it just kept doing that, I think like 4 times. And during the 4th time, because, those medications are very harsh on the body, he just couldn't do it. And he ended up passing away the 4th time I had to treat him. Well, what was I going to do? Not treat him, You had
to, you had to take that chance.
Yeah. And again, what I was saying earlier about the rescue animals, when you're putting that much time into them and working with them every single day, they get very friendly, like Rex loved being with me and loved being out. So he was very, very friendly. And I know like, a chameleon that's friendly, but no, I'm telling you, Rex was such a sweetheart. I was so sad when he passed away because he was just the nicest, friendliest chameleon I'd ever had ever. But but there was other stuff too. Like we had this blue tongue skink that came in, had burns from a heat lamp on the top of its head and the back. Well, the top of the eyelid was a little bit burned. So when it scabbed up during the healing, the scab came off and he was missing a chunk of his eyelid. So my vet was like, hey, would you let me try to do reconstructive eyelid surgery on the skink so he can fully close his eyes? Because since he couldn't close them, all this dirt and stuff was like getting
stuck in the moisture.
And I have to put the eye drops in his eyes every day and like flush the dirt out. Mm-hmm. And she was like, well, yeah, because if we can't find a way to get him to close his eyeball, then he's going to have to be kept on newspaper or something for the rest of his life, you know? Mm-hmm. So she did it though. She did it. She like put some, stitches in there and everything. And he healed up and he was able to fully close his eyes again. Wow, so that was pretty cool, But there've been like so many stories of like me just getting animals and us doing stuff. Oh yeah. Another one is Andy. Andy was this baby Savannah monitor, a little tiny hatchling that I saw in the pet store. And I actually thought he was dead, because he was just laying there like, and I went to my friends at the pet store that worked there and I was like, hey, you might want to, get this one out because it's dead in there. So they went and they opened it up and you could just see like his little body took a breath. And I was like, oh my God, it's still alive. Like, here, give it to me. Let me give it some water or something, It still had the eyes closed, couldn't even open the eyes, couldn't really move. So like, and like I said, I'm good friends with the people at the pet store. So like, they just let me go wherever. So like I ran to the back and I was like getting water and like just dripping drops of water on its mouth. And it was just like drinking. And then I was like, oh my God, will you guys let me see if it'll eat, a bug or something, So I got like a little mealworm and I put it up to his mouth and rubbed it, on the mouth, still with the eyes closed, wouldn't even open the eyes. And I could see him. He was like trying to open his mouth and grab it. And I was like, dude, it has the will to live. I was like, please let me take this, lizard to my house. Let me take it to the vet. Let me get it better. So I did. And it turns out, so he did get better. I was able to foster him so much that he was able to recover and walk around again. But, and this is really sad. So when he started walking around, I noticed, and I guess this must have happened before at the pet store, his toes were like this. They wouldn't straight. They were stiff. And he's just like walking around. I'm like, what the heck is wrong with him? So I take him to the vet again and I'm like, hey man, like something's wrong with his feet now that he's walking around. And she was like, oh my gosh, he's got
gout.
It was stuck shed.
Oh, wow.
He was a tiny hatchling. He was so tiny you couldn't even tell. All of his toes were necrotic. They were dead. Yes. And so was the end of his tail. So guess what she did? She had to amputate every single one of his toes and the tip of his tail off.
Dang.
Yes. As a baby hatchling. But I mean, after that, he did great. He thrived in my care. We had him for years until he died. He actually ended up being Sierra's pet. And she loved that thing. She had me bring him to school for like pet show and tell. But because he didn't have claws, he couldn't dig. So like, I'd go outside with him and he'd be like pawing at the ground, and I'd be like, it's okay, Andy, I'm going to help you. And I'd like get a stick and I'd start digging a hole and he would like try to dig it with me and he'd like get
so cute.
Yeah, but like, can you tell I love my pets?
Yeah.
Yes, definitely can.
Yeah, but like I will do anything for these animals. Like I'll take them to the vet and have them fixed up. And like I have tons of stories like that. Tons of stories where like, good outcomes. Good and bad, because you can't save them all. But
no, you can't. You can't. You have to come to that realization. So no, that's awesome that you've been doing that. You learned a lot. I learned a lot tonight, and I can definitely tell that you're passionate about what you do, and I believe the reptile whisperers. I see it, you know.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah, you're gonna definitely need to like put together like that DVD set.
Yeah.
You know, the whole...
Are you gonna film it, Jen? Are you gonna film it?
Yes, and this lighting and this spooky witchy light. This is the Blair Jin Project.
Blair Jin Project.
You can
There
be
you
the
go.
spokesperson. You can be the spokesperson.
Yes,
You
I'll
know,
be your
like on those
wife.
infomercials, on the infomercials.
That'll be me. That's
yeah.
definitely gonna be me. That's definitely gonna be me. I'm gonna say it, you know. By Kathryn Brown's The Reptile Whisperers
Yeah, exactly.
Socialization DVD set. Plus, free shipping and handling.
Free shipping and handling. And wait, if you buy now, we'll
If you
throw
buy
in a free sign gift card or whatever. Or card.
That is so funny.
You get a free card of Ozzy's signature autograph
Yeah.
with your first order,
would
but
love it.
only for the first 15 orders. So shop now. Do it now.
So funny. Awesome. Well,
Aussie approved.
Ozzy approved.
Ozzy approved.
Fantastic episode, ladies.
Awesome.
That was awesome. That's a wrap. Good job. I feel like we could probably talk all night, but we talk before
Good.
and
No, but then I'll just fall asleep on you guys. So I'll be like a sleeping witch, Blair Jin Project thing going on. Yeah, it would be a mess. Yeah.
No, it was fantastic. I'd love to have you back on at some point and listen to the stories.
Nice to be on.
There's a lot we can learn from you. So yeah, super excited. And thanks for all the work you've done and the passion that you have. It's made me more excited to keep pursuing this dream and journey and share with others. So appreciate that.
Yes. Thank you again, Krista, for having me, and Kathryn. Thank you for agreeing to hop on board and talk with Krista. I mean,
it was great.
Talk, but you know,
awesome co-hosts. Yep, cool. All right, I'll take you guys back. What was that?
No, I said, all right, guys.
Okay, I'll take you guys backstage and I'll finish this up.
All righty.
All right. Thank you guys all for tapping in. Awesome episode. I learned a lot. Really excited to have both of them on again at some point in time. So yeah, I'll go ahead and close this out next week. Who do I have next week? Actually, I think it's Renee from Renee from Portuguese Pythons. We're going to talk about some Ultramel project, my favorite project. So come same time next week, and hope you guys have a great start to your week.